In a desolate valley where mist perpetually clings to ancient pines, the Ravencrest Asylum crouches like a wounded beast. Its Victorian architecture, once grand, now seems to writhe against the sky. All twisted spires and gaping windows that resemble screaming mouths. Local legends speak of Dr. Heinrich Mauer, whose treatments in the 1940s went far beyond conventional medicine, venturing into realms of metaphysical horror that no sane mind could comprehend. The asylum's patient records, discovered decades later, hint at experiments involving sleep deprivation, sensory manipulation, and attempts to open doorways within the human psyche. Many entries end abruptly, with only crimson stains marking their final pages. The most disturbing document, found sealed within the basement walls, speaks of success. Though what kind of success could warrant the claw marks that score those yellowed pages remains unknown. On a moonless October night, 5 college students, Jake, Sarah, Marcus, Lily, and Chris, broke through the rusted gates, their flashlight beams dancing across walls stripped bare by decades of decay. The air inside carried the metallic tang of old blood and something else, a cloying sweetness that made their heads swim. Their footsteps echoed strangely, as if the sound was returning from somewhere much further away than the peeling corridors should allow. In the former children's ward, they found tiny handprints pressed into the walls, fresh ones, still wet to the touch. The group's nervous laughter died when they realized the prints led up the walls and across the ceiling, converging at the center where an ancient light fixture swayed without any breeze. The treatment room on the 3rd floor still contained its equipment, a chair with leather restraints, its metal components gleaming as if recently polished. Beside it stood a cart of instruments whose purposes defied explanation. Crystalline spheres filled with writhing shadows, needles inscribed with symbols that hurt the eyes to look at directly. When the door slammed shut, it wasn't with a bang but with a soft click, like the sound of teeth meeting. Sarah screamed as something cold brushed against her neck, invisible fingers that left raised welts in their wake. The flashlights began to flicker and die, each one failing in sequence despite their fresh batteries. Marcus vanished first. One moment he was clutching Lily's hand. The next, she was holding on to empty air. They heard his scream start nearby and then recede, as if he was being dragged rapidly away, not across the floor, but upward. Lily went next, pulled through a wall that rippled like water, leaving behind only a single shoe, and a spreading pool of something too dark to be water. Chris ran, his terror-stricken face illuminated by the last failing flashlight, until he reached a dead end that hadn't been there moments before. The others watched in horror as black tears began to flow from his eyes, his mouth opening in a silent scream as his body slowly folded in on itself. Jake and Sarah made it to the main entrance, only to find it had been replaced by a solid wall. As they turned to flee another way, they saw Dr. Mauer standing at the end of the hall. Not the decaying corpse he should be after 80 years, but something worse, a figure in pristine medical whites, too tall and thin to be human, its head brushing the ceiling, as it smiled with too many teeth. The asylum stands empty now, except on certain nights when lights move through rooms on their own. Sometimes, passing motorists report hearing laughter, not nervous giggling, but the deep, satisfied chuckle of something that has just finished a very good meal. Local authorities have logged 27 disappearances in the area over the past decade. The only clue, fresh handprints on the asylum walls, leading up and across the ceiling, growing larger each time they appear.